I ponder a lot. It's probably due to the chemical imbalances in my brain, the same imbalances that have and do scar life, well, my life, with depression and paranoia. I kind of analyse, reanalyse, and I analyse some more. I guess you'd think this level of detailed study would provide me with the tools to be a high level scientist, or at least reaching the top of my field in something, whatever my field is. Of course, I'm none of those. I don't stand out with anything due to my knowledge and skill. I kind of live my life bouncing from disaster to disaster. And without a doubt, the more I look back over my life, well, there's many things I should have possibly done differently through the sort of journey of my life so far. But the past is the past, right? And don't feel sorry for me for those sentences that I've just spoken. I'm not looking for pity or sadness, and I don't need it because there's something really positive emerging from all of this. It's one thing that my analysis and reanalysis and analysing some more of my personal view of my disastrous life thus far has taught me that I am and always will be a survivor. It doesn't matter how much shit I have to wade through. Doesn't matter how tough my life gets or how dark it gets, because dealing with depression, it's not a joke. It's an awful thing, and there are times in my life where I just don't want to live anymore. I want to die. I mean, don't confuse that with feelings of suicide. That's something I would never possess, because suicide is something I couldn't do, because suicide affects not just me or the person thinking about it. It affects everybody you've touched through your life. Your children, your family, extended family, your friends, people that have known you, people that you've engaged with, and that then can cause repercussions in their lives. So no, I'm never suicidal. There are times, where I find life that tough that I just wish I would die. That doesn't happen very often, thankfully now. But it's the reality of living my life anyway, and living a life where you are struggling with depression and anxiousness and the things that come along with that. So paranoia and I guess the nature of me is that the analysis that I do to myself is part of the illness. But going back to the positive side, it's I'm a survivor. I've sort of been through counselling, which helped to a point. I've been on antidepressants, which certainly helped to a point, and I'm off them now. I've been off them for about 10, 11 months, and I feel freer for it. It's nice to have my emotions back, but it still means I struggle. But through all this sort of help I've had, I've learned to deal with it. I know the things that trigger my depression, my bouts of depression, the intensity of it anyway, and I avoid them as much as possible. So I surround myself with people who are true friends and that understand who I am and how my mind works and the problems I have, and accept it, and anything that's gonna cause stress or thing, I cut it out of my life. It's the only way it's the best way to survive. And there's times when, of course, there's times when I have really tough times, but I guess now I know that I know a bit more about it. I know that they're going to be shorter lived. Depression's always there. It's always in the background with me. It's part of who I am now, and I just kind of have to avoid the things which bring it to the surface and make it this sort of intensive, numbing, painful black cloud that follows me, and I have to avoid that. And if it comes to the surface, I also have to remind myself that it's short lived, and it's not something that is going to take over my life and consume me anymore. It's something that I know that I have to ride the storm with. And it's been interesting. Obviously, because I do have an analytical mind, and I look at past and what's happened to me, and there's no doubt that there's aspects of my life that weren't in my control. So aspects of my childhood which weren't in my control, and choices that were made for me perhaps, and events that have happened. As I got older. I mean, I don't believe that the death of my first son, who was stillborn, after about 7.5 months, I don't believe that was something that I could have avoided. I don't I don't really see anybody was to blame for that. So these things are just, I don't know if you believe in luck. It's just seriously shitty bad luck. Um, so although there are aspects in my life that have been out of my control and obviously have caused me problems and have caused certainly probably increased the intensity of my depression, I guess. That's just shit that happened, and it's not stuff that I've gone past blame and anger. It's what it is, and you just move on and deal with it. And I've no doubt that a lot of the things that have caused unhappiness in my mind. Some of them have been choices I've made. I've made some serious bad choices through my life, and I expect I will continue to, because I'm thinking and accepting that bad choices is part of life. It's part of how you learn. So I have no regrets as such. Yeah, there's stuff I should have done differently, and there's stuff I think as you get older, you sort of obviously, hopefully, you become a better person. My depression has certainly made me a better person. It's made me understand the effects that certain things have on individuals, and I think that's been something that's been an important lesson for me. And I think I treat people a lot better now than I would have done 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. But there's one thing that's been through my life that it's certainly helped me, and it's kind of part of why I'm talking about this now, really. And this is the sort of my passion and my interest in natural history. I've often pondered whether this was nature or nurture with me, because none of my parents were avidly into natural history. They had some sort of knowledge and some sort of awareness, so that, I guess, that is the nurture bit, and it wasn't discouraged. It was always encouraged. So that's definitely one of the few aspects of my upbringing, I guess, that are positive. But conversely, and ironically, or on the other side of the coin, or whatever catchphrase you want to use, it's been, the reason I went out and really got into natural history was probably, well, not probably, I don't think there's any probably, it was certainly an escape. It was my escape from bad shit that was happening, and so I kind of immersed myself in natural history. And during those moments when I was on the Hale Estuary looking at birds, or when I was just exploring sort of the local habitat around where I lived in Cornwall, I didn't have to think about bad stuff. I just enjoyed wildlife, and wildlife's been my sort of the thing that saved me, I think. Wildlife is something that I'm never going to tire of. It's an amazing sort of thing that's around you wherever you are, and I feel really lucky to have this sort of driving force in me to want, and this ability to enjoy it, this ability to want to go out and see new things, and and learn things, and wildlife. I mean, I'm sitting here actually in my home and looking out the window in the garden, and it's just, it puts a smile on my face, and I think there's a lot of power in the smile, and the smile, if you're smiling, then your mind is relaxed and excited, and I just love the fact that I love wildlife, and I've been really lucky. I've been so lucky in what I've been able to do through wildlife. I worked on nature reserves in Scotland. I've done a lot of different sort of wildlife related jobs. Working as an ecologist now, and as a freelance ecologist, and but then I've also sort of travelled with friends in some amazing things. Turkey, Israel, the Arctic Circle in Norway. It's amazing. There's just a massive range of stuff I've been really lucky enough to be able to do, and it's great. And now I live with Kath, my partner of goodness knows how many years, and we've got three kids together, and my son from a previous marriage lives with us now, and although he's nearly 16, so he's not so into wildlife. But the girls, they love it. We run a moth trap in the garden, and we've been doing these species challenges, seeing if we can record 1,000 species within kilometres square. And the girls have really immersed themselves in it, and they love it, and they get excited about it. Because they get excited about it, it makes me even more excited about it, and it gives me a really positive energy. And obviously through going back to the things of my childhood, I'm learning from that, in that I'm giving them, or I hope I'm giving them, a better start in life that I feel that I had, and a real positive, with no anger and no violence, and no, just try and prepare them for life, because they're the reason I'm here, and I'd be lost without them. I wouldn't be here without them, and so see them getting as excited about wildlife as I do, and as I have done for many years, just makes it all worth it. So I do feel lucky in that I love wildlife. I just would be lost without wildlife, and it's great. And don't get me wrong, being passionate about wildlife comes with its I would say impacts, in that if you're passionate about anything, and then you see it being threatened, as everybody will know, wildlife across the globe is under threat, and that hurts. But I love that I can get angry, and I can get passionate about that, and I can do things. I like the fact that I can get up and I can do things, and I can, even if it doesn't change things, I can maybe change a few people's minds. And this is why I've done my turkey project and covered myself in tattoos of Turkish birds. But I mean, that's not what this is about. That's not what this clip is about. But I love the fact that I have the energy to feel passionate enough about something to go beyond how my brain is feeling, how shit I'm feeling, and how and the push that black cloud away and do something positive with energy and encourage people. And I just feel lucky, and I just wanted to share that with you, that wildlife can be the key to help anybody. If you can get passionate, it doesn't have to be wildlife. I'm just lucky it's wildlife, because wildlife's so diverse, so there's always something new or something exciting. But having that focus, and it's almost an escapism, but it's a therapy. It helps you put things into perspective. So anyway, I've waffled on for sure. Probably enough for most people. I just wanted to share this sort of part of my life, and hopefully give some perspective. If there's a lot of people, I'm not alone. There's a lot of people that suffer from depression for various reasons, and I hope this clip helps. I'm happy to talk openly about it. I'm not ashamed of it. It's something it's an illness, if you want to call it an illness, but it's something that I'm not ashamed to speak about because it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I'm very happy to take responsibility for the aspects of my life that have gone wrong that are my fault, but the actual fact that I suffer from depression is just something that I suffer from. It's not necessarily who I am. It doesn't define me. It perhaps defines what I do to some extent, but it's not. Anyway, it's not. It's not something I'm ashamed of. It's just something that is. So I hope this has been some use to you. Anyway, peace.